me get over here.
Welcome, everyone. I want to thank Governor Edwards and his team for hosting us today. I also want to thank the federal co-chairman, Chris Massengill with the Delta Regional Authority, and all of the local, community, political, and development partners who have joined us today for this announcement. My name is Leslie Durham. I am Governor Edwards' designee to the Delta Regional Authority. And for those of you that don't know, the Delta Regional Authority is a federal and state partnership that leads economic and development infrastructure investments in 252 counties and parishes across the 8 Delta states. In Louisiana, there are 56 parishes included. They have been a strong partner to the people, businesses, and communities in Louisiana, from Houma to Monroe. I'm proud to work with the DRA on behalf of Governor Edwards and the people across this great state. Our work is especially needed in times like these. As you know, families across Baton Rouge area are digging out from the disastrous impact of the recent storms. Our communities and businesses are hurting. Many residents have lost everything. Everyone with me today is committed to you. We represent a partnership of federal, state, and local resources. We have brought together the best, the brightest, from community, business, and civic sectors. All of us united are committed to a singular purpose. We are going to help you rebuild. We are going to help our communities heal. We are going to help Louisiana come back stronger. With that, I am honored to introduce my friend, Chris Massengill, who will announce a series of investments coming to Louisiana.
Thank you, Leslie.
Good morning, everyone. Leslie, thank you very much for that warm introduction. You are a great partner, and Governor, thank you for sharing her with the Delta Regional Authority. And we want to say thank you, Governor, for hosting us today. I tell you, it's exciting. I was telling the Governor, 7 years in this post, and this is the first opportunity I've had to actually be here in the Governor's office in the Capitol, and I'm very excited to be here to be a part of these announcements. You know, Governor, you've been in office for 8 months, but in that time you've had to manage storms, floods, tornadoes, tragic events here in Baton Rouge, and of course the budget crisis, and 2 legislative sessions. And 3 legislative sessions. And he would remember that. But I can tell you from my perspective, in the face of these challenges, you have provided a solid foundation of leadership and never wavered in your efforts to find solutions and to bring additional leadership and to bring people together. And I want to say thank you for doing that. I can tell you, Governor, your vision for Louisiana means a bright future for the state and its people, and DRA is committed to being a strong partner with you. I'm excited to have this partnership in our work because today I'm proud to announce more than $72 million in new investments coming to the people and the businesses of Louisiana. These strategic investments will strengthen Louisiana's infrastructure. They will help better prepare if and when the next disaster strikes. They will improve the talents and skills of our workforce, help support our entrepreneurs and small business owners, and they will help attract and keep companies and good-paying jobs right here in the Delta. The DRA's mission is to help create jobs, build communities, and improve lives. These investments, we believe, honor that commitment. Let me give you a couple of examples. We're investing more than $150,000 into Go Biz, Grow Biz program with Heather, which will provide multi-stage small business development education and training across 7 parishes in central Louisiana. These investments will help cultivate and expand the region's entrepreneur ecosystem, both attracting and growing Louisiana's strong startup community. Next, we're investing in sewer capacity in Boyce. Now, I know for a lot of you all, the word expanding sewer capacity probably is not glamorous or sexy, but let me talk in plain economic development language. For us, that means that this investment is leveraging another $30 million. $30 million from sun-drop fuels for new research and development. It's exactly the kind of investment that DRA likes to make and is proud to be a part of. This project will upgrade serial components that were initially constructed in the late 50s and not understood to support modern industrial development. And new industry and investment means new jobs for the people of Louisiana and a stronger economy for the state. It's a true win-win. Finally, I'm proud to announce that we're investing nearly $275,000 and leveraging another $225,000 into 2 new water pumps in Paincourtville. This is an important project, particularly because, although it's not necessarily glamorous, but it's smart investment that will make our part of the world more resilient when disasters occur. You all remember the EF3 tornado that hit the families and communities in Paincourtville and Bella Rosa area, collapsing a water tower serving Assumption Parish and damaging their booster station. As a result of the disaster, there was a lack of redundancy for the water pumping station, creating a lack of drinking water if the pumps broke down and the power went out. This investment fills that gap. Given the families and the communities of Assumption Parish the additional security, they will have clean and drinkable water in times of need. We have a series of other investments, including a major job-creating project with CenturyLink Village, and of course another project with one of our strong partners, Jobs for America's Graduates, which I'm going to let Governor Edwards announce. But before I do that, let me just take a second to thank all of you all who've been a part of this partnership and effort. From Senator Cassidy and Congressman Abraham and Bustani and our entire congressional delegation, I want to thank you for the support and your leadership to the Delta Regional Authority, and of course to the people and the leaders that are here today. We have an incredible group of people fighting to make Louisiana a great place to live and to do business. Their work and commitment to the Delta inspires me each and every day. I'm blessed to be working with an incredible team. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce our main partner in making strategic investments. DRA is comprised of the federal side and the states, and it is a true partnership. The governor has been an incredible, strong voice for your state. As many of you all know, he was just in Washington, D.C., meeting with lawmakers and advocating for additional disaster relief for Louisiana. And I can tell you, this is a governor who stands tall with other governors on our board to advocate for their people, to recognize the importance of economic development, what it means to have job creation strategies during tough economic times. It is an absolute honor to have this kind of relationship with your governor. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your governor, John Bel Edwards.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris, for the introduction, but more importantly for the work you're doing on behalf of the Delta Regional Authority across the entire region, but especially here in Louisiana. Thank you, Leslie, for the work that you're doing, and thanks all of you for being with us today. I want to thank the Delta Regional Authority for assisting some of our most vulnerable communities to meet some of their most basic but most pressing infrastructure repair needs. Each of the 7 Louisiana projects is designed to make tangible improvements to cities and towns and rural areas across our state. And these projects exemplify the important role that the state of Louisiana and the DRA can share in building and improving the places that our citizens call home. And you hear the word used, partnership, quite often, and sometimes it applies and sometimes it doesn't. I want you all to know that the relationship that the state has, that local government has with the DRA, it truly is a partnership, and it works for the benefit of everyone in the state of Louisiana. 2 of the awards are for very important programs as opposed to development projects. The Grow Biz program will target small business development, and the Jobs for America's Graduates program will be expanded by more than 30%. Incredibly important. When you look at the central Louisiana area, what we know is that even though the entire state has seen a downturn here recently, if you go back to the fall of 2010, at the end of the last recession, job growth in Louisiana has been positive overall. But you get to Alexandria and points north, and it's either been 0 or negative. And so having a Go Biz, Grow Biz program expanding in that area is incredibly important. And the DRA recognizes the need, and they're partnering with us to help in a significant way to address that need. The JAG program, Jobs for America's Graduates, probably the most successful program in the country of its type, where we target at-risk youth, and we want to keep them in school and make sure that they graduate and that they get a job, or they go to college, or they go into service. And it is the best program of its type in the country, and there are certain benchmarks that you have to meet. And Louisiana has met every benchmark. And in fact, this past year, we were the best performing program in the country for JAG. And so despite the fiscal constraints that we have with the $2 billion deficit that we inherited and the budget cuts that we've had to implement, working with the DRA, with the private sector, and being very strategic about how we can fund these programs, we're actually going to grow that program by 30%. And we are extremely excited about what that's going to mean for the people of the state of Louisiana, so that they can continue to benefit from the Jobs for America graduates. Now, the other 5 awards address specific needs in certain communities. You might imagine, since Mayor Jamie Mayo is here, Monroe is one of those. And in fact, the single biggest DRA investment in the state of Louisiana this year will be in Monroe, and for a very important project. But in addition to Monroe, extremely important projects in Jonesboro, Boyce, Gross-Tet, and Pankerville. In the case of the Pankerville project, the authority is making its second largest award in the state, almost $275,000 to add 2 new pumps to the community's booster pump station. This project is going to help Pankerville in its recovery from the tornado which struck that community back in February. That EF3 tornado was the strongest ever recorded in Assumption Parish, and it left the path of destruction for more than 20 miles. I will never forget going out there the night that struck. And I don't know, it's almost as if tornadoes have a mind of their own, and on occasion they hit the most vulnerable targets, because it crossed the Mississippi River from Assumption Parish, where it knocked over a water tower, did extensive damage to homes, to public infrastructure, and then it headed directly for a travel trailer park. And then it wasn't a glancing blow. It went straight down the park. And at the end of the night, when the dust settled, about 2/3 of the travel trailers were in one big heap at the far end of the park, and you couldn't tell what was what. Amazingly, the loss of life there was very minimal, but that was a strong tornado, and it did extensive damage. And this award is going to help Assumption Parish, because we were unsuccessful getting the federal government in that case to do a major federal disaster declaration. It just didn't reach the level that the federal government will step in. And so again, we called on the partnerships that we have in place, and DRA stepped up. And so thank you very much. In Monroe, the authority is making its largest single grant in excess of $1 million for needed waterworks improvements to serve Northeast Louisiana's new Century Village project. Construction began earlier this year. This is a landmark 88-acre technology and mixed-use development. It's going to be across the highway from the CenturyLink headquarters, and I am so excited about that development. It's going to be home to IBM's 400-plus job client innovation center, and IBM is going to partner with CenturyLink on research, development, and product innovation initiatives. And as you all know, CenturyLink is headquartered right across the street, and just last year it formally opened its 300,000 square foot technology center of excellence, which was an important addition to its 365,000 foot corporate headquarters. That company is the #1 economic driver in Northeast Louisiana, and it is the largest company headquartered in the state of Louisiana. So being able to do these things to allow this progress to continue is incredibly important, and we wouldn't have the ability to do it without the DRA's participation, not just in Monroe, but across the state of Louisiana. Challenging times, and we've been challenged, But challenging times such as these tend to bring out the very best in the people of Louisiana. And as heartbroken as I've been about the people who've been adversely impacted by these floods, their lives have been turned upside down. I'm also have been very gratified about the way the people of Louisiana have responded to one another, and the way the faith-based community, charitable organizations, the business sector has all come together in order to make our state more united. And I am so convinced that we're going to recover and move forward, and our best days are still ahead of us. I know that. And sometimes when you're going through these challenges, you know, you lose sight of that, and you start to question it perhaps. But I believe firmly that Louisiana's best days are ahead of us, because we're going to have the courage to make the hard decisions, the ones that are best for us, and because we have good partners like the Delta Region Authority. We also have a bipartisan spirit when it comes to making sure that we're taking care of our own, whether it's support for flood recovery assistance or anything else that we're doing. And the work that we've been able to do with our congressional delegation, with the administration, the Obama administration, I'm going to tell you, in a short period of time, we've gotten a lot accomplished. We will know later this week, I think, whether we have a real shot at getting a significant appropriation in the continuing resolution that Congress is considering over the next few days. And the ongoing assistance from important organizations such as the DRA is very much appreciated. So we've got an awful lot going on, much of it challenges that we're responding to, but we also have a lot of very positive things going on, like these investments we're making across the state of Louisiana as a result of our partnership with the DRA. So I want to thank, again, the chairman of the DRA, Chris Massengill, who even months ago sat with me and talked about all of the things that the DRA has available for the state of Louisiana, and his eagerness to make sure that he was partnering with me so that with Leslie and with the input from local officials, we would be addressing our most pressing needs in the areas of the state that are within the Delta Regional Authority. So, Chris, again, I want to thank you very much. I want to thank you, Leslie, for your hard work. And at this time, I'm going to be followed by Mayor Jamie Mayo, who's going to talk about the importance of this investment in his community and what it's going to mean for the Monroe area, Northeast Louisiana, and really for the whole state. And then he'll be followed by a representative from Sundrop Fuels to talk about what this is going to mean for them. So thank you very much. And Mr. Mayor, if you'd come forward.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Governor. If I could say this like Gomer Pyle, y'all remember him? Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so delighted to be here today, and I want to take this opportunity to thank all of those that have been here, starting with the governor. What can I say about Governor Edwards? When he was running, he indicated that he wanted to make the state whole, and there's no question that this project in the city of Monroe is a significant slice of the pie that will make it whole. So I certainly appreciate him, his leadership, and also his friendship. And Chairman Massengill, what can I say? We had lunch earlier, and he winked at me and said, "I think you're going to be okay." And I believe we're okay, right? And Leslie, we appreciate you as well. But I also have my city council member here, in which CenturyLink and Century Village, it's in her particular district, and that is Councilwoman Gretchen Ezernak. And I wanted her to come along because I know it's a proud moment for her, the other city council members, as well as our administration in the city of Monroe, and also the citizen as a whole. But we had a great team. The North Delta regional folks, Mr. Creed, who's here, and also Mr. Waxman, everybody that's been here, Mr. Thompson, that's worked on this project. I want to say thank you for that $1 million. And the governor mentioned that CenturyLink is the largest corporate headquarters in the state of Louisiana. We're proud of that. We love New Orleans, we love Baton Rouge, we love Shreveport and Bossier, Lafayette, and all the other great cities, also towns and villages, but we're proud to have the largest corporate headquarters in the city of Monroe, and this is going to be significant. Now, Chairman Massengill indicated that water and sewer is not sexy. I can tell you it's very sexy to us in the city of Monroe and Ouachita Parish, and all mayors and city council members, I think, the same. The $1 million that you're granting to us in the city of Monroe is essential for the development of the Central Village. That will include IBM and so many other businesses, restaurants, and possible hotels. The city of Monroe will be giving $692,000 as a match with this project, which is significant. And I think that goes to say that we're in a position to be able to provide the match because the city of Monroe is in the best financial shape in the city's history, and we're proud of that. We're proud of our congressional delegation. We appreciate them. We appreciate President Obama because obviously he's worked very, very hard. He's been here and he's helping the governor, and that is significant as well. So to everybody, thank you very much for all your work and all your support because it is significant for the city of Monroe, Ouachita Parish, and Northeast Louisiana. Thank you very much.
God bless you. Thank you.
Hi, Sundrop Fuels is proud to work with the town of Boyce to improve their wastewater treatment facilities in support of our Advanced Bioreforming Center to be located in Rapides Parish. We look forward to creating jobs and opportunities in central Louisiana as we conduct and operate both the Advanced Bioreforming Center and the world's largest biorefinery in the near future. In addition to producing gasoline in an environmentally friendly manner, both plants will also help to grow the plantation timber industry in the region. Thank you for your continued support, everyone, of our projects and for the grant to support this project in Boyce. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will take some questions.
Board of topic, sort of. The Board of Commerce and Industry is moving, looking at the industrial tax exemptions,
Yeah.
renewals, and together with Louisiana shall.
Now, how is that only slightly off topic? But go ahead. No, go ahead.
And there's a lot of discussion that by moving ahead with some of these renewals, even though they were applied for prior to your executive order, that it violates the spirit of your executive order. Do you have any comments?
Well, first of all, there's a lot involved there. The executive order has to do with what I will approve as governor, and the Board of Industry and Commerce, it exercises its own discretion as well. And its discretion is circumscribed by the rules-making process. And so it is in the process of promulgating new rules that will govern its decision-making going forward. And there is no backtracking from what I said we will do as a state to rein that program in, to make sure that it's focused on job creation and that we are not giving away local tax dollars, because as you know, the state doesn't participate in the revenue that comes from the property taxes. We're not going to give those dollars away without locals having input. And there's no reason for our program to be the most generous in the nation by a long shot, so that we're just called upon to do more as a state in order to send resources back to the local government. But now, we also have to make sure that as we implement these changes, we do so in a way that allows for the stability necessary in the business community, because the new rules will affect new applications and in fact, renewals, as you know. But we want to make sure that the entities that are applying for the industrial tax exemption or for the renewals, they have the ability to move forward with the certainty that those applications and those renewals that were in the pipeline before the changes became effective, they're going to be treated one way, and then when the changes become effective, they'll be treated another. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain why you've increased the ask for flood relief to
Yeah.
Congress?
Because it became apparent we could get it. No, we
Who made it apparent?
no. Well, let me answer the question. We submitted as part of the overall request, which was multifaceted and had other moving parts, but the single biggest part in terms of the money involved and probably in the importance of our ability to recover quickly and fully from this flood disaster, but not really just this one in August, but the March as well, because the Community Development Block Grant funding that we're seeking is for both events. Is the Community Development Block Grant Program. Our initial request, based upon the damage estimates that we had, was $2 billion. Now, we've been working nonstop around the clock, not just at the state level, but in coordination with the federal partners at HUD, Housing and Urban Development, but also at the Office of Management and Budget in Washington, in order to figure out what that request should be if it should exceed $2 billion. One of the reasons that the request is going to be $2.8 billion, I should say, is because I had a conversation with folks in the White House who said that they want to make sure that the resilience piece, as it relates to public infrastructure, really gets plussed up. That way they know that they can have the peace of mind of knowing that the investment they're going to make in Louisiana will pay off in the long run by reducing the likelihood that we have this type of flooding going forward. One of the things we're really focused on, and what this extra money is going to help us do, is rather than doing what was done after Katrina, where we focused on elevating businesses and elevating homes, how about we do flood control projects in floodplains that reduce the base flood elevation and obviate the need to raise structures? Because if you're going to tell a homeowner in response to a once-in-a-thousand-year flood event that one of the things they're going to have to do in addition to fixing their home without flood insurance, 80% of these people don't have flood insurance, is they're going to actually have to raise their home too, that expense could very easily make it where that's just not a viable option for them, and they walk away from their homes. The banks and the mortgage holders are going to be taking a damaged entity back and won't be getting the payments on that. And it's not good for the community either, because we need people making a decision to go home. We need people making a decision to reopen their business, and they have to be able to stay open. And so the CDBG program is going to be incredibly important, and that extra $800 million is all about a plussed up resiliency effort as it relates to the public infrastructure.
So when do you expect the president, my understanding is the president has sort of formally says, I think that you should include this money. When do we expect that to happen?
Okay, I'm not sure I fully understand your question, but the president will be meeting this afternoon, or at least it's scheduled, to meet with the leaders of the House and the Senate, so Senators McConnell and Reed, and House members Speaker Ryan and Leader Pelosi. And they're going to be talking about the continuing resolution, which could move, as I understand it, as early as this Wednesday coming out of the Senate. Obviously, this is the first opportunity for us to have an appropriation included to assist us with the recovery efforts, and it is our goal to have our request incorporated into the continuing resolution.
Yeah, you head back to Washington this week?
I am scheduled to go on Wednesday and spend Wednesday and Thursday. We were very busy last Thursday and Friday in Washington, but still unable to make all of the meetings that we want to make. I'm going to go back and we're scheduled now, I believe, to meet with Speaker Ryan and with Chairman Rogers of the Appropriations Committee, but I also have a meeting with the entire congressional delegation on Wednesday afternoon, and additional meetings with cabinet secretaries at Transportation and Health and Human Services, because there's some transportation funding we're looking for, and there's also block grant funding for social services to address mental health issues that arise every time we have these floods as well. And we are trying to put together additional meetings beyond those as well. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Governor. Talk to me about what you tell homeowners who are confused right now about elevating their homes and are hearing what you're saying today. What do you tell them?
Well, first of all, it is a confusing situation, and it is hard to cut through the heart of the matter. This rain event, the probability of this event happening in any given year is 1 in 1,000. The National Flood Insurance Program and our flood maps are based upon the probability of a rain event happening once every 100 years. So this rain event is not going to inform any changes in the National Flood Insurance Program. They won't take any maps and change them. If you weren't living in a flood zone before, you're not going to be living in a flood zone now because of this flood event. But it's not quite that simple, because you have local governments, in order to take advantage of an opportunity to make sure that the residents in their communities have the lowest possible flood insurance premiums. Local government has ordinances that require the elevation of homes in certain circumstances where they actually flood and receive substantial damage, which means they're 50% or more damaged. Now, it is possible for the local governmental entities to, by ordinance, suspend or eliminate those requirements. The problem is, how does that interact with the National Flood Insurance Program? And only congressional action can change that. And so, I'm hopeful that Congress will come together and that they will make some changes where at least they suspend that provision for a period of years to allow people in Louisiana to have longer. But we are not talking about people who don't live in a flood zone. I think what we're talking about here, these people who live in a flood zone and whose houses are not at or above the base flood elevation. If they flooded in this event and that flood damaged them substantially, which means 50% or more of their value, then based on their current, their local ordinances, they may have an obligation to raise those homes. And so this is going to play out over a period of time. I wish I had more definitive information for those homeowners, but I don't right now because it's based both in what happens locally and whether Congress does something with the flood insurance program.
One more question.
Y'all heard the lady. One more. I should have recognized Senator Ward and Representative Brown, who are here, and I think they're the only two legislators here, but I want to thank you for your presence because it's incredibly, we talked about partnerships. It's not just the executive branch and the DRA and local government. It's our state representatives and state senators as well, so thank y'all very much for being here. Yes, ma'am.
Are you concerned that Congress could not pass this aid package after 3 Louisiana members of our delegation voted against the aid package for Sandy?
Well, first of all, I'm concerned that Congress may not move the package now, but not for that reason. This is a continuing resolution, and if you just turn on the news, you see how difficult it is for Congress to do anything these days. And we are trying to get an appropriation made to aid us in our recovery efforts just several weeks after the flood event itself. And so there's a lot that could happen. I'm actually optimistic that it is going to happen. Now, with respect to the reference you made to the votes of some of our delegation members on Sandy relief, I will tell you that I had an opportunity to speak to Republicans and Democrats in the House and in the Senate last week in Washington, and none of them led me to believe that they would take that into consideration as to whether Louisiana would get the relief that we're asking for. Thank y'all very much for being here. I look forward to many more days like today when we can announce projects for Louisiana that are going to make a difference in the quality of lives of our citizens and make our communities that much more vibrant so that we can really grow and strengthen our state, set the stage for more economic development and investment and job creation, and especially working with the DRA, we're able to do that in the most, I guess, in the parts of our state that oftentimes are the hardest to deliver this assistance to. And that's why I appreciate that partnership so much. And I think you all recognize how important it is, and that's why you're here today. So thank you as well. God bless.